Were you also high when you wrote it?
Say what?
Were you also
that was
high?
before I really ever did edible marijuana. No, yeah, I can't write shit when I'm high, bro.
Apparently you can't write shit when you're not high either.
Yes.
Yo, it's your boy Zirk, and I just watched Mike Israetel try to save his career, and I haven't laughed this hard since I saw my uncle try to explain to my aunt why he was at the strip club for the wings. Mike went on a whole damage control tour and somehow made shit worse. This is comedy gold. First of all, Mike didn't address this on his own channel. Nah, that would be too honest. He went on a podcast, but not just any podcast, a podcast that his company sponsors, that he pays money to. Hold on, let me make sure y'all understand this. Mike Israetel went on a show that he pays for to give his honest, unbiased response to getting exposed. The whole video is Mike sitting there with dudes who are nodding like bobbleheads. Nobody's challenging shit. Nobody's asking hard questions. It's just, yeah, Mike, you're so right for 45 minutes. When Solomon first made that video, Mike didn't respond himself. Nah, he sent his homies to go to war for him. Milo Wolf made a whole video defending Mike. Jeff Nippard was in Instagram comments talking shit. Other dudes in Mike's circle were all pushing this rough draft story. These dudes put their names on the line for Mike. They defended him publicly. They looked their followers in the eye and said, Mike's PhD is legit. Solomon got it wrong. So now Milo looks like a fool. Jeff looks like a liar. Everybody who defended Mike got played. Milo Wolf had his PhD funded by Mike's company. So when Mike needed help, Milo showed up. And Mike repaid him by making him look stupid on the internet. Jeff Nippard hired Solomon to fix his programs, then tried to erase that relationship to defend Mike. Mike's the type of dude who borrows your car, crashes it, blames you, and then asks for gas money. These dudes burned their credibility for Mike, and he couldn't even keep the story straight for a week.
Solomon Nelson, I think, probably genuinely doesn't like a lot of the things I have to say because he maybe disagrees with my style of presentation and maybe considers some of my factual accuracy left wanting. And his critiques were a combination of two things. His critiques on deep methodology and implications of my dissertation were probably less than accurate. I could get into that, but that's really boring. Essentially, he miscaricatured what a PhD is supposed to be and misunderstood the deeper implications of my work.
But he has a PhD.
He does not.
Oh, he does
No.
So at the same time that Solomon is not credentialed, to my knowledge, credentials are kind of bullshit to begin with.
Now, this is my favorite part. This is where Mike's brain fully broke. He said, and I quote, "Credentials are kind of bullshit to begin with, actually. The man who calls himself Dr. Mike just said credentials don't matter? The man with PhD in his Instagram bio just said academic degrees are bullshit? My guy, your entire brand is built on that PhD. You've been out here for years like, listen to me, I have a PhD. I'm smarter than you. I'm Dr. Mike. And now that your PhD got exposed as trash, suddenly credentials don't mean nothing? That's like a rapper getting exposed for lip syncing and then being like, rapping doesn't matter anyway, it's about the vibes. Bro, you built your career on that. Mike spent 10 years flexing his PhD, and now he's like, yeah, but degrees don't really matter though. That's like a dude getting his chain snatched and then being like, jewelry is stupid anyway, I never liked it. Then why you been wearing it for a decade?
So my dissertation was a piece of fundamentally high quality work. However, absolutely to Solomon's credit, that motherfucker had like 200 typos and spelling errors and shit.
Were you also high when you wrote it?
Say
Were
what?
you also
That was
high?
before I really ever did edible marijuana. No, yeah, I can't write shit when I'm high, bro.
Apparently you can't write shit when you're not high either.
Yes.
The typographical errors were at enormous scale. And I had a really nasty error where I copied and pasted tables from my data set into the actual final document. And I copied them at an offset and never double squinted to check. And so a lot of the tables look like total nonsense. Fairly not revelatory dissertation, never claimed it was. And it is just a totally fine dissertation. It's a fine piece of work by itself with all the typographical errors corrected, it would be super, super dope. His methodological insights were, I think, I just disagree with him. So I think that it's fine on that term. But his typographical insights, formatting insights, were really good. I'm like, oh my god, I never noticed that because I finished my dissertation like most people do. I was fuck, thank God that's over. I never looked at it again. And he's like, hey, you just did a bunch of typos and shit. And I was like, fuck. So I 100% intend to correct every single one of those.
What do you care? You did it 12 years ago. Who gives a shit?
Well, okay, so that's like a really good response to that whole thing.
Mike's other defense is even better. He's like, why are we even talking about this? It was 12 years ago. Bro, you've been using that PhD to sell shit for 12 years. You don't get to flex your credentials when they make you money and then act like they're ancient history when they get exposed. That's like a dude getting caught with a fake Rolex and being like, I bought that watch years ago. Why are we bringing up old shit? Because you're still wearing it. If your PhD doesn't matter, why is it in your bio? Why do you call yourself Dr. Mike? Why do you mention it in videos? You can't use something to make millions and then act like it's irrelevant when it gets exposed. Mike keeps acting like the only problem was spelling mistakes. Yeah, if there were like 200 typos, I'll fix them, no big deal. Except that's not what Solomon exposed. Solomon found numbers that don't make sense, statistical impossibilities, data that cannot exist in reality. Mike copied tables wrong, so the numbers are in the wrong spots. The math doesn't work. It's not, oops, I spelled hypertrophy wrong. It's the entire research is fundamentally broken. But Mike is on this podcast acting like he just forgot to run spell check. That's like getting caught plagiarizing an entire essay and then being like, yeah, I forgot to use quotation marks, my bad. No, bro, you copied the whole thing. Let me tell you the real reason Mike is upset. Mike has spent his entire career being the smart guy, the science guy, the I have a PhD so I know more than you guy. He's always flexing his intelligence, talking about his IQ being too high to measure. Mike says he can master any field in 1 year and be better than experts who spent decades in it. Mike's whole personality is, I'm smarter than you, and here's my PhD to prove it. And then Solomon rolls up and exposes that Mike's PhD is trash. That's why Mike is really mad. Mike built his entire identity on being the intellectual, and it turns out his credentials are trash. That's an ego hit he can't handle. So instead of taking the L like a man, he's lying, deflecting, making excuses, and throwing his friends in front of trains, all because his ego won't let him admit he's not as smart as he pretends to be. Look, this was so easy to handle. All Mike had to do was, yeah, my dissertation had issues. 2, I've learned a lot since then through practical experience. 3, my expertise comes from coaching, not from that one paper. 4, move on with his life. Mike turned a your PhD is weak situation into a you're a liar with no integrity situation. Solomon exposed a bad dissertation. Mike exposed his whole character. That's like getting pulled over for speeding and then admitting to 3 murders. Like, bro, we were just gonna give you a ticket. Here's the bigger problem. This exposes the whole science-based fitness community. These dudes use PhD and evidence-based as marketing terms, not actual principles. Mike has a trash PhD. Jeff lies and deletes evidence. Milo's research is funded by the people he defends. They all cite each other, they defend each other, they fund each other. It's not science, it's a business cartel. When one person gets exposed, they all circle the wagons to protect the brand. That's not how science works. In real science, if someone's work is bad, other scientists call it out. But in fitness YouTube, it's just bros defending bros because they all make money together. Mike went on a podcast he sponsors to give his response. That's not journalism, that's a commercial. The whole thing is rigged. It's like if McDonald's investigated itself for food safety and was like, we found no problems. No shit, you're paying the investigators. Mike didn't need to lie. His PhD being weak doesn't mean he's a bad coach. Plenty of great coaches don't have PhDs. Plenty of PhDs can't coach for shit. Mike has real experience, he's gotten real results, he knows his stuff from working with athletes. But he was so insecure that he built his whole identity on a weak PhD and then lied when it got exposed. If Mike had just been humble from the start, yeah, my dissertation wasn't my best work, but I've learned a lot since then, none of this would have happened. But Mike's ego wouldn't let him. He had to be Dr. Mike. He had to be the smart guy in the room. And now everyone knows it was all cap. Mike destroyed his own credibility trying to protect his ego. He played himself. I'm Zirk, and I'll catch you next time. Stay real out there, or at least be better at lying than Mike. Peace.